Marine mammals possess respiratory adaptations that reveal profound principles about conscious breathing practices. Dolphins demonstrate the most sophisticated example of voluntary breath control in the animal kingdom, maintaining submerged awareness for extended periods while exhibiting neurophysiological changes that extend far beyond simple breath-holding techniques. Every dolphin breath represents a deliberate choice, contrasting sharply with automatic breathing patterns that characterize most human respiratory activity. This conscious control creates neural pathways linking voluntary decision-making with autonomic nervous system regulation, establishing connections between consciousness and physiology that remain largely unexplored in human potential development. Research in marine mammal physiology reveals that dolphin breathing patterns activate specific brainwave states comparable to those achieved by experienced meditation practitioners. When preparing for deep dives, these mammals trigger complex neurophysiological responses that simultaneously optimize oxygen utilization, regulate heart rate variability, and induce coherent brain wave patterns associated with heightened awareness and physiological coherence. The neurological mechanisms underlying dolphin consciousness during extended submersion involve sophisticated vagus nerve activation, creating cascading effects throughout their nervous system. This activation promotes parasympathetic dominance, shifting the organism from stress-responsive states toward relaxation, recovery, and optimal functioning. The implications for human consciousness development become apparent when these principles are adapted for practical application. Understanding the dolphin model requires recognizing why conventional breathing patterns limit human potential. Most individuals breathe unconsciously, maintaining shallow respiratory patterns that keep the nervous system locked in sympathetic activation. This creates biochemical conditions that actively interfere with cognitive clarity, emotional regulation, and flow states of optimal performance and awareness. Shallow breathing restricts oxygen delivery to the brain, maintains chronic low-level stress activation, and prevents access to deeper brainwave frequencies associated with creativity, intuition, and expanded awareness. The respiratory pattern becomes a limiting factor in consciousness development, creating a ceiling on mental, emotional, and cognitive capabilities that most people never recognize or address. Dolphins demonstrate an alternative approach where breathing becomes a tool for consciousness regulation rather than mere survival. Their respiratory patterns actively induce physiological states that support enhanced awareness, precise navigation of complex environments, and sophisticated social communication. These capabilities emerge directly from their mastery of conscious breathing as a consciousness technology. The 7-minute dolphin-inspired breathing protocol represents a systematic approach to accessing these enhanced states through structured respiratory practice. This technique progresses through 3 distinct phases, each designed to replicate specific aspects of dolphin respiratory physiology and the consciousness states they naturally achieve through their breathing mastery. The initial preparation phase establishes conscious breathing awareness and begins shifting the nervous system from automatic functioning toward intentional control. During this 2-minute period, practitioners develop the foundational consciousness that transforms breathing from unconscious habit into deliberate practice. The rhythm of 4-count inhalation, 2-count retention, and 6-count exhalation creates the neurophysiological conditions necessary for deeper consciousness work. This preparatory breathing pattern activates the parasympathetic nervous system while maintaining alertness, creating what researchers call relaxed awareness. The extended exhalation phase is particularly important for vagus nerve stimulation, initiating the cascade of physiological changes that support expanded consciousness states. Practitioners begin experiencing the transition from ordinary awareness into what might be termed marine consciousness. The core diving phase intensifies these effects through extended breath retention and controlled exhalation patterns that mirror dolphin dive preparation. The 8-count inhalation maximizes oxygen saturation while the 4-count retention allows for optimal oxygen distribution throughout the nervous system. This retention phase replicates the physiological adaptations that allow dolphins to maintain consciousness during extended submersion periods. The 12-count exhalation with vocal release creates powerful vagus nerve activation, triggering the dive response that optimizes the entire system for expanded awareness. This extended exhalation induces alpha-theta brainwave frequencies, the neural signatures associated with deep meditation, enhanced creativity, and what indigenous traditions describe as visionary consciousness states. During this phase, practitioners consistently report profound shifts in awareness, including enhanced mental clarity, emotional release, expanded sensory perception, and access to intuitive insights previously unavailable during ordinary consciousness states. These experiences reflect the measurable neurophysiological changes occurring as the nervous system adapts to dolphin-inspired respiratory patterns. The integration phase consolidates these changes while returning to natural breathing rhythms that maintain the enhanced consciousness state achieved during the diving phase. This 2-minute period allows practitioners to anchor the expanded awareness into their baseline consciousness, creating lasting changes in nervous system functioning and cognitive capabilities that extend beyond practice sessions. The neurophysiological mechanisms underlying this technique involve multiple interconnected systems working in concert to create profound consciousness shifts. The controlled breathing patterns directly influence heart rate variability, creating what researchers call coherent heart-brain coupling. This coherent state optimizes communication between cardiac and neural systems, enhancing both cognitive function and emotional regulation capabilities. Extended exhalation phases activate the vagus nerve, the primary pathway connecting conscious breathing control with unconscious physiological processes. Vagus nerve stimulation triggers parasympathetic activation, promoting cellular regeneration, immune system optimization, and the release of neurotransmitters associated with well-being and expanded awareness states. The specific breathing ratios employed in this technique shift brain wave patterns from beta frequencies associated with ordinary waking consciousness toward alpha-theta frequencies characteristic of deep meditative states. During alpha-theta consciousness, the brain exhibits enhanced plasticity, increased creativity, and improved access to subconscious processes normally unavailable during regular awareness. Oxygen saturation during controlled retention phases optimizes prefrontal cortex functioning while simultaneously activating what marine biologists term the dive response. This response includes bradycardia, peripheral vasoconstriction, and selective brain perfusion that mirrors the adaptations allowing dolphins to maintain consciousness during extended underwater periods. The conscious breath-holding component creates unique neurochemical conditions including increased GABA production, endorphin release, and optimization of neurotransmitter balance throughout the central nervous system. These chemical changes support the expanded awareness states that practitioners consistently report during and after technique implementation. Regular practice of dolphin-inspired breathing creates lasting neuroplastic changes, essentially rewiring the nervous system for enhanced consciousness capabilities. Studies in respiratory meditation practices demonstrate measurable increases in gray matter density, improved neural connectivity, and enhanced cognitive function that persist beyond individual practice sessions. The technique works by establishing conscious control over autonomic nervous system functions typically considered involuntary. This control creates a bridge between conscious intention and unconscious physiological processes, expanding the practitioner's ability to influence their internal state through voluntary practices that work with natural physiological intelligence. Implementation requires understanding optimal timing, environmental considerations, and progression protocols that maximize benefits while ensuring safe practice. The most effective practice periods occur during natural transition times when the nervous system is most receptive to pattern changes and new neurological programming. Upon awakening, the brain exhibits enhanced neuroplasticity and reduced analytical filtering, making this an ideal time for establishing new consciousness patterns. Morning practice sets the neurophysiological tone for the entire day, creating sustained benefits that extend far beyond the practice session itself and influence overall daily functioning. Evening practice before sleep allows the nervous system to integrate the enhanced patterns during rest periods. Sleep consolidation processes work with the altered brain wave patterns established during practice, reinforcing the neurological changes and supporting long-term consciousness development through natural recovery cycles. Periods of stress or challenge represent opportunities to apply dolphin-inspired breathing as a real-time intervention. The technique provides immediate access to enhanced consciousness states that support clearer decision-making, emotional regulation, and creative problem-solving during demanding situations when ordinary responses prove inadequate. Practitioners typically notice immediate effects including enhanced mental clarity, emotional stability, increased energy levels, improved stress resilience, and expanded sensory awareness. These changes reflect the direct neurophysiological shifts occurring as the nervous system adapts to dolphin-inspired respiratory patterns and begins functioning more optimally. Within days of consistent practice, individuals often report synchronistic experiences, enhanced intuition, improved sleep quality, increased creativity, and a general sense of life flowing more smoothly. These developments reflect the broader consciousness changes that emerge as the technique becomes integrated into daily functioning and creates lasting alterations in baseline awareness. The most profound transformations occur through sustained practice over weeks and months. Long-term practitioners often develop what might be termed marine consciousness, a sustained state of expanded awareness, enhanced intuition, and improved ability to navigate life's challenges with the grace and precision characteristic of dolphins moving through their aquatic environment. Understanding the deeper principles underlying this technique reveals why it produces such profound and lasting effects. Conscious breathing represents one of the few direct methods for voluntarily influencing the autonomic nervous system, creating a pathway for consciousness development that works with the body's natural intelligence rather than opposing or forcing physiological processes. Dolphins demonstrate that breathing can become a sophisticated tool for reality navigation rather than mere survival function. Their respiratory mastery enables complex forms of consciousness including echolocation, intricate social communication, and precise environmental navigation. These capabilities emerge from their fundamental understanding of breath as a consciousness technology rather than simply a biological necessity. Human application of these principles opens similar possibilities for enhanced awareness, improved life navigation, and expanded capabilities that emerge naturally as the nervous system optimizes through conscious breathing practice. The technique represents a practical method for accessing consciousness states that support both personal development and enhanced effectiveness in all areas of life. The 7-minute protocol provides a structured introduction to these principles while remaining accessible to practitioners regardless of previous experience with breathing techniques or meditation practices. The systematic progression through preparation, diving, and integration phases ensures that consciousness changes occur gradually and safely, preventing overwhelm while maximizing benefits. Regular practice creates cumulative effects that extend far beyond the immediate benefits of individual sessions. The neuroplastic changes induced by consistent dolphin-inspired breathing establish new baselines of consciousness that support enhanced functioning in relationships, work, creativity, and all areas where expanded awareness provides advantages. The technique bridges ancient wisdom traditions that recognized breath as the foundation of consciousness development with contemporary neuroscience that explains the mechanisms through which respiratory practices create measurable changes in brain function and nervous system capabilities. This integration provides both practical effectiveness and scientific understanding. Practitioners often discover that mastering conscious breathing opens doorways to other consciousness development practices including meditation, energy work, and contemplative practices that build upon the foundation established through respiratory mastery. The breathing technique serves as both a complete practice and preparation for deeper consciousness exploration. The Dolphin model suggests that consciousness development through breathing represents a natural human capacity that has been largely forgotten in contemporary culture. These marine mammals demonstrate possibilities for expanded awareness and enhanced life navigation that remain available to humans through proper understanding and application of respiratory consciousness principles. Environmental considerations support optimal practice including quiet spaces free from interruptions, comfortable temperatures that don't require the body to work against external conditions, and positions that allow for unrestricted breathing while maintaining alertness throughout the practice session. Creating proper conditions enhances both safety and effectiveness. Safety considerations include avoiding practice when driving or operating machinery, respecting individual limitations and not forcing the breath beyond comfortable ranges, and discontinuing practice if dizziness or discomfort occurs. The technique works through gentle persistence and consistent application rather than forceful effort or aggressive pushing. Progressive development approaches allow practitioners to gradually extend their capabilities over time rather than attempting advanced practices immediately. Beginning with shorter sessions and gradually extending duration ensures that the nervous system adapts smoothly to enhanced consciousness states without overwhelm, strain, or adverse reactions. Advanced practitioners often discover that dolphin-inspired breathing opens access to what indigenous traditions describe as oceanic consciousness, states of expanded awareness that include enhanced intuition, improved empathy, and direct knowing that transcends analytical thinking. These developments represent natural expressions of consciousness when the nervous system functions optimally. The scientific foundation supporting these practices continues expanding as researchers investigate the mechanisms through which conscious breathing influences consciousness, cognitive function, and overall well-being. Studies consistently demonstrate that respiratory practices create measurable changes in brain structure, neurotransmitter production, and autonomic nervous system functioning. Heart rate variability research reveals how controlled breathing patterns optimize cardiac rhythms, creating coherent states that enhance both physical health and mental performance. This coherence between heart and brain systems supports improved decision-making, emotional regulation, and access to intuitive intelligence that emerges when these systems function in harmony. Neuroscience research on breathing and consciousness demonstrates that respiratory control directly influences brain wave patterns, shifting consciousness from ordinary beta states associated with everyday thinking toward alpha and theta frequencies linked to creativity, insight, and expanded awareness. These changes occur reliably and can be measured using modern brain monitoring equipment. The vagus nerve research provides crucial understanding of how controlled breathing influences the entire nervous system. As the longest cranial nerve, the vagus connects breathing patterns with heart rate, digestive function, immune response, and brain chemistry. Conscious breathing becomes a master key for optimizing multiple physiological systems simultaneously. Stress research reveals how shallow, unconscious breathing maintains chronic activation of stress responses that interfere with optimal functioning. By contrast, conscious breathing patterns activate relaxation responses that promote healing, regeneration, and enhance performance across all areas of life. The breathing technique becomes a powerful stress management tool. Sleep research demonstrates how evening breathing practices improve sleep quality by preparing the nervous system for optimal recovery cycles. Practitioners often report deeper, more restorative sleep that enhances both physical recovery and mental clarity. The technique supports natural circadian rhythms rather than disrupting them. Creativity research shows that alpha-theta brain states accessed through conscious breathing enhance innovative thinking, problem-solving abilities, and artistic expression. Many practitioners report breakthrough insights and creative solutions emerging during or shortly after breathing practice sessions. The technique becomes a tool for accessing creative potential. Athletic performance research reveals how conscious breathing enhances physical capabilities, improves focus under pressure, and accelerates recovery from exertion. Professional athletes increasingly incorporate breathing techniques similar to this protocol to optimize their performance and maintain peak condition throughout demanding training and competition schedules. Meditation research provides extensive documentation of how breathing practices support consciousness development, emotional regulation, and spiritual growth. The Dolphin-inspired technique represents a specific application of these universal principles, adapted to work with marine mammal insights about consciousness and respiratory control. The technique ultimately serves consciousness evolution by providing practical methods for accessing enhanced awareness states that support both personal fulfillment and service to others. Like dolphins, practitioners develop capabilities that benefit not only themselves but their entire community through the enhanced consciousness they bring to all interactions and relationships. Understanding these principles reveals breathing as perhaps the most accessible and powerful tool for consciousness development available to human beings. The Dolphin model demonstrates that respiratory mastery can transform not only individual awareness but entire ways of being in the world, creating lives characterized by grace, wisdom, and the ability to navigate complexity with remarkable skill and insight. The implications extend beyond personal development into collective human potential. As more individuals master conscious breathing techniques and develop enhanced consciousness capabilities, the collective human field benefits from increased coherence, wisdom, and capacity for solving complex challenges facing our species and planet. The 7-minute protocol represents just the beginning of what becomes possible when humans reclaim their birthright of conscious breathing mastery. Like dolphins who have evolved sophisticated consciousness through millions of years of respiratory practice, humans can rapidly develop enhanced capabilities through dedicated application of these time-tested principles adapted for contemporary life.